I think one of the things that's really important to know is that it's really a initiative that needs to be driven by leadership. It's not just for organizations to bring in resources or people or subject matter experts to say, we want to make changes to our culture. We want to change the way we do things. It's really for leadership to look at itself and say, what is it about ourselves that we can do differently as leaders to initiate and then to exemplify that change and what that sort of needs to look like? How do we model that? And then in addition to that, it's how do we resource that? How do we support that? How do we make sure that we're constantly modeling the change that it is that we need to see? Are we talking to our members? Are we connected to what's happening on the front line and understanding what are their barriers? What are their challenges? What are the things that they need as well? And then making sure that there's that feedback loop between the members, communities as well, because in as much as culture affects members, it also affects service delivery to communities. And so our community is a part of that conversation around culture change. And then again, what are the accountability mechanisms that need to be in place in order to ensure that that change is happening in the way that it needs to happen in a meaningful way, but that there's also, accounting for what are those changes that are actually happening that we're seeing, and how are we reporting to the public and our members on that as well? And if things aren't going the way we need them to go, what are the things that we're going to put in place in order to ensure that that happens? Back to leaders. Again, more leadership involvement in what happens with regards to culture change. We need leaders to talk about why it's important, not just why it's important to the organization, why it's important to them personally as a leader. One of the other things is, how do you ensure that other people are taking it seriously? Are there metrics when it comes to performance and how people's, their outcomes are being measured? Is it being measured by the changes that we want to see with regards to culture change as well? For example, are we recruiting for that? Is that on the exams or the questions that we see? Same thing for promotions as well too. Are we adding questions around empathy, around culture change, around how adaptable people are? Are we recognizing people for those efforts? There's so many awards for, life-saving type of initiatives or interactions. Are we awarding for culture change and how people are modeling these kinds of behaviors? By being vulnerable, I think for leaders to be vulnerable themselves, to talk about some of the challenges that they're experiencing. I know some people don't equate talking about challenges or the fact that they might not have all the answers to leadership. Sometimes leaders think that they have to know everything, and that's what it means to be a leader. But quite honestly, showing vulnerability, showing folks that, I may not have the answers. I might not have a good day today. Here are the things that are impacting me personally to some degree, but providing that opportunity for other people to open up as well. And making sure that people feel comfortable to do so. Are you an approachable leader? And in addition to that, making sure the resources and supports are there for members. The other thing that's really important is looking at what's the diverse spectrum of supports that members need. When we look at diverse and racialized members as well, they might need tailored supports in the same way that we say communities, when we talk about cultural safety. Are we providing that to our members? So when we talk about mental health supports, are they tailored to this specific diverse community that our members also belong to? And so making sure that, again, people are getting the resources that they need in the way that they need it. The RCMP is one of the most, if not the most, iconic police force in Canada. And for that organization to get it right when it comes to inclusivity, diversity, it will have such an impact on the rest of policing for the country. And so, being that iconic image for that represents Canada internationally, if the images that the rest of the world are seeing are of a diverse and thriving workforce, it'll also be a statement for Canada as well in terms of how they're actually weaving in their diverse cultures and individuals and communities also. And so there's such great opportunity for the RCMP, again, to be that beacon of change. And so I'm hoping that this is the direction the organization is going into. It's a phenomenal opportunity to learn about what it is that different organizations are doing around innovation within the public sector. It's a great networking opportunity, seeing folks from all across the country, being able to connect with people who are doing similar work to you, to be able to learn from them, the connection to companies as well, that being able to see them display their products and learning about the latest innovations, really, really important. I love the fact that there is an opportunity to shape some of the questions alongside the team, so that the subjects that are already being brought to the table are already so rich. But sometimes these are conversations that people are either afraid to have within their own organizations. But the fact that this organization can bring those conversations and bring those people together and actually collaborate with the speakers around how do we get the most bang out of the opportunity that we have to all come together. I think that's great, because a lot of other conference type organizations, you don't have that opportunity for collaboration, right? Even though you might have the opportunity to network with other people. But I think really collaboratively working with folks around how do we tease out the best so that our participants, our attendees can get the best. That's what brings me back all the time.